James Keefer live in Scranton, PA. Fresh off the plane from Florida.
Right.
Just got back from writing $30,000 in business in a week. Over $30,000 in one single week. Last time I checked, that's the most ALP I ever heard of from anybody in a week, and definitely more ALP than I've ever met anybody write. In our agency, we set a lot of records. That's hands down the biggest record that we've ever had, And I know you've been with the company for how long now?
A little over 3.5 years.
So been with the company for about 3.5 years. So James, I'm just happy that we're both in Scranton at the same time this morning, and I wanted to spend time with you. And I know a lot of people have probably a lot of different questions on their mind. Like you hear a guy writing over $30,000 in business in 1 week, you probably start wondering, how is it possible? What did he do? What was he thinking? So kind of walk us through, where did this all come from? How did you even decide you wanted to do something like this?
Well, I've always been impressed with big numbers, and I've always been impressed by the top producers. I've always considered myself an extremist in anything I do. Looking back to the things that I've done, throughout my life, whether it was playing baseball as a little league. They said that they called me Wild Thing because I was the fastest pitcher. I threw it over the backstop 3 times and being 3 kids in a row, but I was the fastest, so that was my thing. It was the extreme thing that I had done. Then I went into computers. I always considered myself extreme with that. Considered myself extreme with playing drums, and then bodybuilding. Now it's my career. So I thought, what better to be extreme at than your career that can change your life and change your family's life forever.
Mm-hmm.
So my mindset going into it was that someone had to step up and set a record and really put northern Florida on the map. Really draw some attention and show them that we are doing good things out of Florida, and there's potential to hit big numbers in whatever area. No matter what area you put us in, we'll be hitting big numbers. And I don't think we've had a top producer in the company, at least not at this level. And my mindset going in is I want to show other people what's possible. That's my mindset.
I know you were talking to Simon, right? And that's kind of where all this came about. What did he say something to you, or whose idea was it?
Well, I think I honestly don't remember making the decision. There were some leads that just ended up in my email for people to see in Tallahassee, and Simon wanted me to give a commit, and I said, I just got back from convention. I talked with a few of the top producers, talked to guys that have done even more than I've done in a week, at convention, and I thought, what, it's about time that I let my managers that we've been building up here, the leaders that I've been building around me, not only in Florida but in State College and the other areas, kind of take the ball in their own hands in the leadership department.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out and be basically that you can't contact me for 10 days unless it's really important, to see how they handle it, and they did a great job, and then to see how I handled it as well. So really what started it was they ended up there in my email. He wanted me to give a commit, and I gave a commit of $35,000 for the week. $35,000 for the week, and it started with thinking big, and I ended up writing a little over 32,000. Looks like 30,000 of it loaded and is sent off, and it's good to go. It's in the bag. It's going to be paid out on, and we're really happy to have a big number. Now, I don't want to take all the credit. I had some stiff competition pushing me the entire way. Jordan Albright, he came over to Tallahassee as well. He wrote a little over 24,000, almost 25,000.
So in the same week, both you guys were down there together. Anybody else? Just you two were the writers, and between you two, you submitted over 50?
Over 55,000.
Over 55,000 for the week from 2 people down in Tallahassee.
Right. So for me personally, I had Austin Soboleski with me, and he helped me to set appointments. Basically, the first day was a Sunday, and we made calls from Jacksonville and set up 25 appointments on a single Sunday together. Him and I called together. And then, so on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we had 9 appointments, 8 appointments. So it was anywhere from 8 to 9 appointments set every single day. And as soon as we got to Tallahassee, I went out on the appointments while Austin continued to make phone calls from the hotel room.
Okay.
Jordan Albright brought Rayanne Fagundes and Nicole Navin with him, and some of the business went under them. So about a total of 3,000 or 4,000 went under them, and 20,000, close to 20,000 went under Jordan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he wrote about 24,000.
Awesome. So, what was your goal? Your goal was to write 35,000. You were telling me about you had a daily goal on sit downs.
Right. So what I figured out is, because I've done something similar before. In December, we went out and I brought first 6-month producers with me, and we both wrote business together. So I figured if I could use that as my basis for how the numbers are going to play out. So if I got 1,200 ALP per sale, and I know that I'm going to close 75 to 85% of everyone that I sit down with, then 5 sits, I should be able to get 4 sales per day. And if it's 1,200 per day, that should be about, well, let's say 3 to 4 sales per day. So it's going to be anywhere from 3,500 to 4,500 per day. So that's exactly what happened. I went out and my goal was to get 5 sits every single day, and I ended up getting 4.33, so a little over 4 sits per day on
numbers
average.
Guy, it's 4.33 sits is what you got.
Right, that's exactly what I got over the course of the week. Right. So I ended up getting the sits that I needed to produce the ALP, and the ALP per sale was a little bit higher. It was about 1,400 ALP per sale on average.
Wow.
Yep.
What was your closing ratio?
Closing ratio was actually only 67%. So
Only.
being that the ALP per sale was a little higher, it kind of worked out that my closing was a little bit lower than my average of 75 to 90%.
Yeah. So, you know your numbers, obviously. You knew what you had to hit by knowing your numbers. And you humbly say that your closing ratio is only 67%. If you went out and wanted to do a big week like that, it's obviously not all the pieces of the puzzle just fell all together. There were adversities that happened. You had to probably overcome a couple different things. What were some of the roadblocks, some of the adversities that you had once you got into it? Because I know one of the hardest things is just even to conceptualize it and think it in your head. So maybe you could talk about the mental battle of how you really got to get this into your head that it was going to happen, and then you could talk about maybe the physical battle of what were some of the adversities you had actually after you got over that first one.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and Jim Collins talks about it in the book From Good to Great. He calls it the Hedgehog Concept.
Okay.
To where you don't even have to think about it. You just know that you can perform at that level. So his example was his wife one day just said, "You know what? I think I'm going to win the Boston Marathon." So she started training for it, and she won the Boston Marathon. It wasn't like, "Oh my gosh, I got to win the Boston Marathon. I got to work so hard to do it." She knew that she could achieve it, and it was just more of a nonchalant, "Hey, I'm going to do this." So for me, it was the exact same way. It was, "Hey, I'm going to write 35,000 in a week, and this is all I have to do to make it happen." The only mental battle was, can I keep up with the hours? Can I keep up with every single day, not taking a break, continuing to go day after day after day? And I think what really it was is something that you taught us, and you said proper planning prevents poor performance. Right? Yeah. Proper planning prevents poor performance. So the first thing we did is when we got the leads and the people that we needed to see, is I never separated them into age or take a ton of time doing that. I only separated it into territories. So there was central Tallahassee, there was west of Tallahassee, there was south, far south, then there was east and far east.
Yeah.
So I separated them into those categories, and we called one area at a time, starting in the middle with Tallahassee. So basically we worked Tallahassee and West Tallahassee, and that's it. Just those 2 areas. We didn't even use all of our leads.
Oh, okay.
Jordan used some of the other ones we gave. So he was working east and southeast and far south. So it was planning, and we took all Sunday long, all Sunday to call. We got in there at like I think it was like 10 a.m. and called until the cows came home. All right. So we set up 25 appointments. So that got us a good start. And I knew that while I'm running appointments, if Austin could be calling from the hotel and filling up the rest of the schedule, that I was going to get those 5 sits every single day. So it was a combination of us both calling and him calling while I'm running appointments and me managing the schedule well, because if I was going to miss an appointment because I had 8 to 9 set per day and I was only sitting with like 5 per day, I would roll that to another day in the week, and we would communicate back and forth so we knew exactly what our schedule was and where we needed to fill the gaps. So we always had someone to see.
How many days were you in the field?
I actually used a week and a half, so I used 9 field days, and I only took off on Sunday, which was Father's Day. I'm not a father, but Austin's a father, and we just felt that would be necessary to keep up the intensity. If I worked Sunday, I would have been burnt out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So I felt that was a good choice to take Sunday off and recover. We went to the fun station, which is just a little amusement place. We hit some baseballs. We played. We got a bunch of tickets from these different games. We were winning a bunch of tickets, and we actually, you know how they have all the different prizes you can win?
Yeah.
Well, they have like a couple adult, like more like appropriate for adults, not anything bad.
Sure.
There was a toaster oven, so we got a Black & Decker toaster oven for the office now.
Oh,
so
there you go.
That's what we did on Sunday. We won a toaster oven for the office.
Nice.
So my numbers for the week ended up being 59 appointments set.
Okay.
39 presentations given. 27 sales. 27 sales. 32,000 ALP, which 30,000 of it loaded. 67 referrals collected. 8,000 ALP from referral sales. They were contingent beneficiaries.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. And I think the referral sales were big, so there were like three
Where
or
did
four.
you learn about the contingent beneficiaries?
From Simon.
You got it.
He goes, contingent beneficiary, for goodness sake. Will you listen to me? Because I know it ain't getting done.
If somebody wanted to learn about contingent beneficiaries, where could they learn about that at?
AI for Life.
AIforlife.com.
AIforlife.com, or you can call me and ask me.
There you go. Awesome. So, just, I guess a couple other quick things would be, I know that people are probably wondering, well, geez, how's he closing at 67%? What would you attribute your closing ratio to? Are there any tips, any tricks, any special lines that you say out there?
I've given away all my tricks.
You've given them away already?
I've given all of them away. If you've ever listened to a workshop, you know that I'm a huge believer in creating a problem before you present a solution. Because if I try to sell you an air pump, but I haven't told you that your tires are flat yet, you're probably not going to buy them, are you?
Probably
right?
not.
But if I tell you your tires are flat and I'm selling you an air pump, now you're going to buy it. Because you're not getting out of the parking lot if you don't. So it's really show them that there's a problem, and you got to say the word problem. Don't be afraid to say problem. If you ran into the room right now and someone yelled, "Hey, we got a problem," then everyone's going to look and they're going to want to fix the problem, right?
Yeah.
So really, to the client, the problem is that Joe and Mary. If Joe doesn't come home tomorrow, are you ready to work 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, plus take care of the kids, make the mortgage payment, clean the dishes, do the laundry, and everything else? Which we know that you can't afford not to have this, really, when we look at it that way. So really showing them, painting the picture of what's going to happen if Joe's not here tomorrow. Will you be okay? The answer is 99% of the time it's no. So we got to fix this problem. So when showing the options that I'm giving them, which option is going to be worse to fix this problem? And it's so easy when you present it that way.
Nice. So if you could kind of maybe sum it up, or give anybody just some feedback if they wanted to set up a week like this, what would be the secret? What would you tell them? Because I'm sure if everybody had a week like this, imagine that. And you know me, sometimes I drive around and I like to think about some stuff, and I think sometimes, what if everybody had their best week? You know, what if everybody had a week like you? You know,
Right.
how special would a week that would have been, right? So, you know, what can you say to everyone?
Well, it really starts with a mindset of believing, comparing yourself to the best. You know, compare yourself to the best, and don't just look at it and say, "Holy cow, that's unbelievable." It's not unbelievable. Start believing it. Start believing the unbelievable. That's how you think bigger. Start believing that you're supposed to write a week that big. Start believing that it's not uncommon for someone like you to be able to do that. You know, 30,000 in a week. That's, you know, I don't think anyone's actually loaded 20,000 in a week with our agency yet.
Mm-hmm.
They've written it, but it hasn't all loaded. And I thought, why not just skip 20 and go right to 30? You know, so I've set up a goal of 35. So I didn't quite hit my goal. So I'm not happy, but it still turned out to be a pretty big week. You know,
you say that's for the least, right?
Right, and I think it can be bigger. I know it can be bigger for sure. So to sum it all up, it really started with thinking big but believing it, and not really even being intimidated by it. I wasn't intimidated at all. And you know, Jordan Albright the same exact way. It's not like he took a day or two to think about what he wanted his commit to be. He just shot off, "I'll do 20,000." Just nonchalant, "I'm going to do 20,000." He knew and believed in his talents, that if he dedicated the time to do it, that it was going to get done. He was getting 2 sits per day for the first couple of days, still writing about 3,000 a day. And so I sat down with him and talked to him about the number of sits that he's getting, because after the 3 days he only had 6 sits. But I had 5 plus 7 plus 5. I had already had 17 sits, right, for the first 3 days. So I talked to him about moving his presentation forward, keeping it moving, and getting out to the other presentation. Don't take 3 hours in a house. And the next day he had 6 sits and he wrote 10,000 ALP in one day. One day he wrote 10,000 ALP. Right.
Wow.
So that's what it's about. Getting out there. Don't waste time in a house. Keep your presentation moving forward. The only reason you're really what's going to cause you to waste the most time is when you don't do your presentation the same way every time.
Consistency.
If your presentation is not consistent, you're going to get lost. You're going to repeat things that I've already said several times, which repeating things that are important is good. You should do that. But when you get off track and have to backtrack and do it again, your presentation needs to be the same every time. Use the same outline every single time. Build rapport in the beginning. You know, build trust by proving you're knowledgeable. You know, create a problem. Show the solution. Take it away. Then ask for the check. That's it.
Nice.
Keep it moving forward.
Keeping it moving. Well, that's pretty much all we got for you, man. I appreciate, you know, taking the time here this morning, you know, and going through some stuff with us. You're special, man. Ever since you come into the agency, you definitely made a presence, and you know, you're one of our top regional sales directors. You know, one of the top in the company, and we're proud of you, man. So thanks for your time, brother.
I appreciate you too, Tommy. Even when you released me, you know, I appreciate you releasing me and, you know, giving me the opportunity. And I'm just glad that you have no problem sending me emails now. It's perfect. Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. There we go. Do we pause this one too? Actually,
I think it stopped almost at the perfect timing. Actually, it stopped.
It stopped for real? No, still recording.